Hi, my name is Riley Dorr. For my Biology 1408 Endangered Species project, I will be talking about the West Indian manatee. For a general overview of this species, it is commonly referred to as a sea cow, which is because of its appearance and diet. They are normally found in small herds, however, it is possible to find them in a large herd. They tend to have small brains due to not needing to actively hunt for their food. They have a lifespan of roughly 50 years. And their population today near the United States is roughly 1,200. The West Indian manatee has a large elongated body with two flippers which help them navigate the waters and a large spoon-shaped tail that also helps them while swimming. This species can grow to be 14 feet long and weigh over 3,000 pounds. Their appearance helps them with their nickname of a sea cow because of their general chubby body shape. They are also omnivores because they only eat plants. These giant creatures like to feed off turtle grass and manatee grass. They need to consume roughly 100 pounds a day in order to stay healthy, which is another reason they got their nickname. The West Indian manatee also have to drink fresh water. For their habitat, they live in the marine, brackish, and fresh water along coastal and ravine areas. They prefer to be along shorelines with grass beds that also allow access to deep water to run more like swim away to when they feel threatened. Commonly found within a large area of the Caribbean basin, including southeastern United States, eastern Mexico, eastern Central America, northeastern America, and the Great Antilles. However, depending on the temperature of the water, will determine where within that range they are living. They cannot be in water that is lower than 68 degrees for a long period of time. A large portion of the population can be found in Florida near the coastline due to their water conditions. The West Indian manatee female will reach reproductive maturity around the ages of 5 to 9 years old. Although they are young, they will only have one child, which is called a calf, roughly every 2 to 5 years. They will also carry their calf for 12 months before it is born, and then it will stay with their mom for 1 to 2 years to learn the environment, where they should be looking for food, and a lot of general items like this before going out on their own. It is extremely rare for a manatee to have twins, and the mothers tend to have a very strong bond with their calves due to the amount of time they spend together before they separate. Why they are in danger now? Well, the three major reasons are hunting, loss of fragmentation. In the U.S., watercraft collisions are hurting, harming, and even killing the manatees. They are ranked State 1, which means critically imperiled because of extreme rarity or because it is somehow especially vulnerable to extinction or expiration, typically with only 5 or fewer occurrences. Why are they being hunted? Well, they are being hunted for their meat, their tough hides, and their fat, which are all deemed valuable by humans. Humans are the only known predator for manatees. Even when being hunted, the manatees said to have no aggression in them. They are a super gentle species. Although they are not hunted as much, there are still a few areas in the Caribbean and South America that will use them as a food source. The next reason for being endangered are boats. The West Indian manatee normally swim near the surface and at a pretty slow rate, which causes them to be in a lot of boating/watercraft accidents. There are roughly 218 manatees killed in 1990 due to boating accidents, which is roughly 12% of the population in America, and that was not counting the many more that were injured. Most of this data is found from researchers attempting to tag these species and discover the amount of cuts and scars in the skin. As you can see in the picture, there's a lot of white marks on this manatee skin, which is the result from the cuts and scars that have healed over time. Luckily, this manatee was able to heal and was not killed from these, but anything as small as even just the motor of a boat can cause these. The last major cause of their endangered species status is the loss of fragmentation. This means the loss of habitation or area in which a species lives. These factors include chemical pollution, residential or commercial development. With chemical pollution, it can cause their immune systems to become weakened and potentially new diseases to arise that may kill them. A lot of oil plants and distributors like to keep their locations near the coastline, which makes sense. However, it makes the water warmer, which makes the manatees come closer and closer, and the different pollutions within the water really harms their immune systems. Residential or commercial development is also a large factor because it is taking away areas in which they commonly live. It is also hurting the sea plants in which they eat. How to help the manatees? Well, first, we have labeled them as endangered, which now protects them by certain federal laws. Also, in Florida, they have watercraft protection and guidelines. They have lowered the number of habitats that are disturbed, and they educate the citizens that live near these manatees to watch out and do their best to protect them. Tourism can also promote awareness. Be able to observe them in their natural habitat and donate money to local areas to help protect them. So restaurants that are in the area that are using their location as a way to provide awareness are restaurants and all that citizens and tourists should be going to. And then the Save the Manatee Club, which is co-founded by Jimmy Buffett, is a really great organization that helps the manatees. Their websites allow everyone to learn important information, donate, adopt a manatee if wanted, and watch live footage of the manatees, along with participate in fundraisers and awareness activities for these manatees. Overall, it's a great website to learn more to help protect our Western Indian manatees. I will also be adding the link for y'all to be able to look at that website. How I think we could help them? Ideally, each school that has a population of manatees or is near a habitation should have a field trip in order to learn more about these species. And if these kids are like most, they will come home and they'll talk about it with their family and friends, and in the end teach them more about manatees, and it will help the cycle just continue of educating our population and citizens over what we can do to help these manatees. All boating license learning courses should have a section on endangered animal life and what they might encounter. So before they are even allowed to go out into the water, they should have to know what to expect, and if something were to happen, what they could do and who they could call to get help. And ideally, there should be stricter laws that protect the habitats of the West Indian manatee from human construction. They are protected under the Federal Endangered Species Act and Marine Mammal Protection Act, but these allow them to check to see if the habitat might become endangered. There should be some kind of law that states a certain amount of area that they can't even be wanting to construct within, or the fact that like some of these oil plants should have to be miles away, and therefore the manatee population will hopefully not even go near them. Some fun facts about manatees. Manatees are probably the original source of the legends of mermaids. Their eyes resemble those of humans, and a single flipper-type tail might have been where the idea of a half mermaid or half human, half fish came from. The closest living land relative to a manatee is an elephant, and they can hold their breaths up to 20 minutes before having to resurface for air, although they normally do come up every 3 to 5 minutes just to be on the safe side. And they sleep for 12 hours a day, well, 10 to 12. And then Snooty. Snooty was born into captivity on July 21st, 1948 in Florida due to his mother recovering from a boating accident. That was the only reason why he was there. Snooty was the subject of many research programs, including one where marine biologists were able to learn just how smart he was with his ability to perform tricks. Due to it being commonly known that they have a small brain, they wanted to test how much knowledge could actually be fit into Snooty's brain. He also became the mascot for all manatees and was adored by everyone. Snooty never became a father because they weren't sure how he would survive in the wild. They didn't want to take the chance of him becoming a father, and then they would have to release the child back into the wild to live its life to its full potential, and then Snooty not being able to be a part of it because he was not ready for wildlife. He had always been kept in captivity. He was also a part of 2 scandals during his life over the death of him. However, none of them were true. A lot of these scandals were due to people saying that he had died and they had replaced him. However, Snooty was living and breathing. He was having his best life. Sadly, he passed away, though, on July 23rd in 2017, making him 69 years old. possibly the oldest manatee in the world, and definitely the oldest manatee in captivity. And these are some of the sources I had used.